All right, guys, so section 2.4 is on parallel and perpendicular lines. So you know parallel lines are never going to touch, right? I think parallel lines and I think railroad tracks, right? A parallel line is never going to touch. Perpendicular lines will touch, they'll meet at 90-degree angles, right? So parallel lines, we're going to learn, have the same slope. They're going up at the same rate, the same constant, right? And perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals. Okay, opposite meaning opposite signs. So a positive sign and a negative sign. And a reciprocal is basically when I was teaching sixth grade, I taught reciprocals. If I have 2/3 and I want the reciprocal of 2/3, I always taught students to flip it. All right, so it's just going to be 3/2. So that's an opposite reciprocal. You might see the opposite reciprocal of 5/6 being -6/5. They have opposite signs and they're reciprocals. Okay, so number 1 says write the equation of a line that is parallel to y equals -3x plus 9 and goes through 1, 4 in slope intercept form. Well, we know slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So to do that, we have to plug in. We know my slope is going to be the same because they are parallel, which means they have the same slope. So my slope is going to be -3. I need to go ahead and plug in my x and y to solve for my b, to figure out where it's going to start on the y-axis. So I have 4 is equal to -3 times 1. And then we know it'll be plus b because we're trying to solve for that y-intercept. So you'd get 4 is equal to -3 times 1, which is 3, plus b. Ooh, that's really messy. I'm sorry. -3 plus b. I want to solve for b, so I'm going to add 3 both sides. So I get b is 7. So if b is 7, write it in slope intercept, we get y equals -3x plus 7 in slope intercept form. All right, number 2, it says write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals -2/3 x minus 6 and goes through the points 9, 9. Well, I always write x and y in just to help myself out. All right, well, perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slope. So my slope, okay, has to be opposite reciprocal. Well, the opposite reciprocal of -2/3, the opposite would be positive, and the reciprocal would be 3/2. Well, they want this in point slope form. So my point, we already know, is 9, 9. So this one's easy peasy. Y minus y1 is going to be 9 equals my slope, 3/2 x minus x1. There you go, bada boom, bada bing. Okay, now they want you to do number 3. Write an equation of a line that is parallel, meaning, okay, I'm going to have the same slope to y is equal to 4x and goes through -1, -2 in standard form. So in order to do this, you need to know what standard form is. Remember, ax plus by equals c. We cannot have negatives for a, all right? Has to be a whole number, can't be fractions or decimals. So I know my slope right off the bat, if it's parallel, will be the same. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to plug my numbers in into slope intercept form. For me, that's just easiest. So we get y equals my slope, sorry, not y. We're going to get -2 because we're plugging it in. -2 is equals to y equals my slope times x plus b. I'm going to solve. -2 equals -4 plus b. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. We get 2 equals b. Right, 4 times, yep, add 4, great. So when I do that, now I have y equals 4x, okay, plus 2. But I want this in standard form. So if I subtract 4x both sides, I get -4x plus y equals 2. Not done. I can't have a negative. So what I'm going to do next, let me see if I can get this in here. Whoa. Put it right here. Let's see if we can get some more room. Okay, we'll just go with it for now. So we had negative 4x plus y equals 2. I'm going to multiply everything by that negative 1 so that a could be positive. So 4x minus y equals negative 2 for that one. I'm going to have you guys do number 4. It says write the equation of a line that is perpendicular and goes through 3, negative 2 in slope-intercept form. So go ahead and do number 4 for me, and I'm going to hop it on 5. Number 5 says write the equation of a line that is parallel. So we know that means same slope to 2y equals negative 8. Sorry, 2y minus 8 equals negative 7x and goes through the point 3, 4 in point slope form. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1 is going to be point slope form. Well, I got to figure out parallel first. What is my slope? To do that, I'm going to put this in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I get 2y equals negative 7x plus 8. Divide everything by 2. So I know my slope, well, my equation would be y equals negative 7 halves x plus 4. My slope is right here, negative 7 halves. So if my slope is negative 7 halves, now they want it, because we have the same slope, now they want it in point slope form. Well, they gave me the point, so here's the easy part. Y minus, my y coordinate was 4, so y minus y1 equals, same slope, negative 7 halves x minus x1, which was 3. So point slope form. We're kind of just playing 007 to move things around to put it in the proper form and to decide if things are parallel or perpendicular. Okay, for this next one, it says write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals, or sorry, 3y equals 9x. So I know if I were to put this in slope-intercept form off the bat, I would divide both sides by 3, right? So I would get y equals 3x if I were to simplify that. And goes to the x-intercept of 7x minus 14x equals 28 in standard form. So a lot to think about here. The x-intercept. Well, if I were to draw a quick little coordinate plane, my x-intercept, my x-axis is this line, right? So we know it's going to hit my axis. My x-axis is what we're looking for. For that to happen, let's talk points. If I'm starting here, okay, there's always going to be some number, because I go left or right, and then 0 for it to be on my x-intercept, right? So now we know we need to figure out the x-intercept from this equation here. So we know, because we want a perpendicular line, that my slope would be opposite reciprocal. So we're going to have negative 1/3 is my slope. And when we want to find the x-intercept, we're trying to figure out where it crosses this x line. We've learned in a previous lesson, I can cover up the y, or the y would be 0. So 7 times 0 is 0. And I would get negative 14x equals 28. So we know x would have to equal negative 2. So we know that means this number here would have to be negative 2, 0. Our x-intercept is at negative 2 left or right, and then 0 up or down. So it crosses right about here. All right, so now they want this in standard form. But to do that, I'm going to plug this in first into point slope just to help me out. So I know y minus y1, here's x, here's y, 0, equals my slope, which is negative 1/3 x, minus x1, which would be plus 2. Well, now I can go ahead and move this around to get it in point slope form, or sorry, standard form. Distribute that 1/3. I'm going to end up getting negative 1/3 x minus 2/3. Okay, we kind of actually have slope-intercept form now. Well, I'm going to add 1/3 x to both sides. So I get 1/3 x plus y equals negative 2/3. Can't have fractions, so I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to clear out that fraction. So we get x plus 3y equals -2. There it is, standard form. All right, guys, that was a lot of information for this first part of these notes. So if you need to go back and rewatch it, please do. We're just looking back at how to maneuver our equations into standard form, point slope form, and slope intercept form. We will continue working on this, but if you need help, let me know. These last three problems, we need to figure out if they're perpendicular, parallel, or neither. To do that, we need to find the slope of each. So for this first one, I see it's already in slope intercept form. Y equals 5x minus 9. For the second one, we also have y equals 1/2 x, when I move this around, plus 3. Well, they're not the same, so they're not parallel. They're not opposite reciprocals, so it's got to be neither. Okay, for this next one, looks like I could put this first one in slope intercept form. So I'm going to divide everything by -6. So I'm going to get y equals 12 divided by -6 is going to give me -2 as a y-intercept. -2x divided by -6 would be positive, right? So divide that by 2, we're going to get 3x minus 2. This next one, it's actually going to be 1/3 x. Because when I divide everything by that negative, we get 2/6, 1/3 x. So 1/3 x minus 2. This next one, I'm going to divide everything by 3, put it in slope intercept form, so I get y equals 1/3 x plus 4. So this is going to be parallel, same slope. Next one, looks like it's already in slope intercept form for that first one, so I'm just going to rewrite it to help myself out. Y equals 5/6x plus 1. The second one, I'm going to divide everything by 6. I get y equals 5/6x plus 5/6. Same slope, so parallel. All right, so this video has a lot of information in it. Main ideas is up top. Same slope is parallel. Opposite reciprocals means perpendicular. And really, all this stuff, number 1 through 5, is really just taking your time and applying what we know from one equation to the next in different forms, and checking your work with your math. But we will continue working on this in class. So go ahead and move on.